Ask anyone to recite their dream car garage, and possibly somewhere sandwiched between multi-million pound McLarens and Lamborghinis is likely an Audi RS product, because for a daily driver they offer the best combination of performance and practicality, while still being quite understated. This is the Audi RS3, now in its third generation and an entry level into the RS performance brand. But is it still worthy of a dream car garage place? Well, Marriott Motor Group have lent me the RS3 for the day to find out an answer to that question. So if that sounds good, then please keep watching. And if you like new car reviews and car content, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Also, the Marriott Motor Group wanted me to let you know about their fantastic offer that they've got running until the end of June. If you've been looking for your dream Audi, then now could be the time, because they've got a 0% finance offer running. Receive 0% APR when you finance a new Audi on hire purchase via Alfira Financial Services over 3 years with a minimum of 50% deposit, exclusively at Marriott Audi. So if you wanted to find out all the more information about that offer, then you can click the link down below and head to the Marriott Motor Group. But first of all, let's talk about some of the performance upgrades that the Audi RS3 got for its latest generation. The power actually remains the same as the second generation car with 394 brake horsepower, but there is slightly more torque at 369 pound-feet, and both are more accessible than they were previously. It's still powered by the charismatic 2.5 litre 5-cylinder engine, now with new engine management system allowing for greater boost pressure and in turn greater peak power and peak torque, arriving earlier and sticking around for longer. The newest version of the RS3 has bigger intakes, wider tracks and impressively boxy arches. It's also marginally longer, wider and taller than the previous RS3 Sportback, but with the same wheelbase. I have waited a very long time to get behind the steering wheel of an Audi RS3, and I'm so pleased to say that it hasn't disappointed. This car is no more powerful than the outgoing model, but it does get more torque, and with a few other changes it means that it is quicker than ever before. In fact, it has an official 0 to 62 time of just 3.8 seconds, which is already quick. But if you watch a particular car reviewer that likes to poke things with sticks, you'll know that he got a time which was closer to 3.6 seconds. That is absolutely blisteringly fast. Plus, if you go for the additional dynamic pack, it also gets a limited speed of 180 miles per hour. And this car in its third generation actually has a new secret weapon, and that's a torque splitter. So essentially what this means is, rather than just sending torque to either the front or the back, this can now send torque to individual wheels, meaning that if one needs a little bit more torque, then it will send it to that wheel individually, giving you even more power and precision. And if you want to have some fun, you can activate the RS Torque Rear mode to initiate controlled drifts. Yeah, a drift mode. However, the fake drift mode is more of a novelty rather than a serious feature. The RS3 is not rear-wheel drive, so it quickly straightens out when you come off of the throttle to try and adjust the line. It's an interesting addition for some playful moments, but not something you would use on public roads or serious track driving. And one thing which has surprised me is just what a racket this car actually makes, because a lot of cars that I test nowadays are a lot quieter from their exhausts, and even the Audi S3 that I tested not that long ago was nowhere as noisy as this RS3, and I'm so glad that it still has that part of its personality maintained. When I put this Audi RS3 on my Instagram stories, loads of people messaged me to say what a beautiful executive spec. But those guys that know me and know this channel know that this isn't really the RS3 that I would choose. It's way too understated. I can understand that it looks very beautiful. You've got just dippings of chrome around the door mirrors and also around the doors, matching together with those fantastic alloy wheels. But I like something that's a bit more in your face. So I thought we'd have a bit of fun. So let's run through the current specification of this Audi RS3 and then let me tell you about my dream specification.
This car is actually a pretty good example of a standard model. Starting from £53,620, the only additional cost on this car is the Mythos black metallic paintwork. The 19-inch 10Y spoke platinum grey alloy wheels are standard, as is the fine Napa leather with honeycomb stitching and RS embossing. After the paint choice, this model comes in at just over £54,000. But you see, if I was ordering a car for myself, my choice would probably be the carbon black, which includes the important RS Sports exhaust system and some decorative carbon trim inlay. Not a fan of blending in, it would be the Kailami green solid paint colour for me. 19-inch 5Y spoke matte black alloy wheels come as standard with the black edition, as well as the same Napa leather. As I mentioned, the RS Sports exhaust system is standard, and I would be tempted to add the black roof rails, but instead, personally for me, I'd go for the panoramic sunroof. I would be tempted with the driver assist pack to gain the adaptive cruise control, something that I believe should be standard on a car like this. However, I'd definitely be adding the RS adaptive suspension with the Audi Drive Select. Altogether, that just about tips my chosen car over the £60,000 mark. What do you think? Let me know your spec down below.
The thing that I slightly worry about when it comes to the RS products is that Audi lean too much on their performance credentials and they forget that they're supposed to be a premium brand. Sure, this car looks premium, but for £50,000 it misses out on some key spec that I would think would be standard. The first of those is an electric boot. Unfortunately, the Audi RS3 only gets a manual boot opening. Okay, it is a small hatch, so it's not really high up off the ground and it's not extremely heavy, but I just think that these premium elements are needed in a car at this price point. However, practicality is still extremely good for the RS3.
If you go for the Sportback, you get 281 litres, which is a fair bit less than the standard A3, and that's to account for the clever four-wheel drive system. The seats do, however, split in a 40-20-40 configuration, and there's luggage hooks, a 12-volt charger, and a luggage net to aid with practicality.
Now, this is usually the part of a performance car review where I say practicality probably isn't that high on your agenda, but in the RS3 it is important because if you're buying this car, you probably want it to have a split personality, to be an engaging hot hatch, but also to carry the family in comfort. So how comfortable is it in the back? Well, I'm pleased to say that despite not having a huge amount of legroom or headroom, I really like that there's quite a lot of space underneath the seats, so you can tuck your feet nice and comfortably, and that means I feel very comfortable back here. 6-foot people might struggle, but unlikely you're going to have 6-foot people in the back. Also, 5 passengers may be a bit tight because you've got quite a significant transmission tunnel, but 4 passengers will be more than comfortable in this car. You've got 2 ISOFIX fitments, you've got some storage in the doors, electric windows, you've got pull-out armrest with a couple of cup holders, and I really like that you've got the little spongy parts here, so that means your cups will stay nice and secure. You've also got luggage nets on the backs of the seats, and these seats are nice and hard, so that means they're practical, they're wipe clean. The only disappointing thing is you haven't got any USB-C or USB charging. You've only got a very old school 12-volt charging port. And the theme of understatement continues onto the interior. If you've watched this channel before, you'll know that closer to Christmas, I spent some time with the standard black edition Audi A3, and it's not hugely different inside of this cabin. Of course, that black edition also had an array of its own upgrades, so it brought it slightly closer in line, but it certainly doesn't feel like an outrageous high performance product on the interior. It actually feels a tiny bit boring. And maybe that's being a little bit mean because I've gotten used to the Audi styling, because I have to admit, I really like all these sharp lines and edges on the dashboard. I just wish there was a bit more carbon. I think that's what it's missing. You have got this almost knitted textured design on the dashboard, but I'd really love it to be coaxed more in carbon down the centre console. And you do get a little bit of scratchy plastic down here as well, which is just a bit of a shame. You have more handy cup holders via these little discs that just flip out and kind of give you cup holders or give you extra storage. But they don't feel as special as the ones that you get in Kia products or Hyundai products for that matter. Although I do like that you have customisable areas, because what isn't that big of a car is still very practical in its storage. There's a bit of storage up front, you've got a decent sized glove box, you've got storage in the door cars, and you've also got storage underneath the armrest as well. And though I said not everything is special inside this cabin, I do love the Audi RS flat-bottom steering wheels. I'm a real sucker for these steering wheels. They feel very old school in their perforated fashion with the visible stitches on the inside, RS on the bottom of it. And I also love the fact that you've got some really heavy buttons. They actually feel really easy to use, much better than haptic buttons. You have got some steel paddles behind the steering wheel, but I just wish those are extended slightly. Interestingly, I actually spent some time with an S3 in a similar spec not all that long ago, and that video didn't make it to the channel, mainly because I actually had a bit of a mess up when it came to the sound, but also because I failed to find it special enough. So what about when it comes to the RS3? Is it worthy of remaining in a dream car garage? Well, I have to say that this car has completely flipped my feelings towards these models. I felt that because I was a little bit disappointed about the S3, I was going to feel exactly the same about this RS3, that it just wasn't special enough nowadays, that it had lost its raw twinkle. But just as soon as you put your foot down in this car and the noise from the exhaust, you realise that it hasn't lost its twinkle at all. In fact, its twinkle is possibly brighter than it's ever been with that more powerful engine. So I think that if you are considering the RS3, don't take it out of your dream car garage, because it's still an extremely exciting new car. It will never cease to amaze me how Audi have the absolute knack of building a car which is so hugely impressive while still being quite understated. The RS3 is for people that know what they have under the bonnet. Many people wouldn't be able to tell the difference between an A3 and an RS3, but that's the point. It's the ultimate sleeper. But let me know, what do you think of the third generation Audi RS3? Pop it in the comments down below. If you did want to take advantage of that 0% finance offer on brand new Audis until the end of June at the Marriott Motor Group, then make sure you click the link down below and check out all the terms and conditions. Thanks so much, Marriott Motor Group, for lending me the Audi RS3. I really don't want to give it back. Until next time, guys, see you later.